Aloha, Rich Alberson here. This is ICS211. And today, in this video, I'm going to start chapter 4, start to get us through chapter 4. So let me share my screen. And chapter 4 is loops. And loops are pretty much the same in all languages. So, there's just some little things that are different when you get into the fancy for loops and some of the loops where the condition test is at the bottom of the loop instead of the top of the loop. And then there's ways that you can break out of the loop. You can continue the loop, break out and continue the loop, or break out completely. And so I've sort of selected some of the sections in here that are not optional. The rest of them are optional because you probably know already, it already, no matter what language you came from. But some of these sections can kind of, you look over this and you sort of get the idea right away. Here's an example of doing using a while loop to compute the greatest common divisor, not recursively. And so, so go through this. You probably recall the greatest common divisor algorithm. If you know, it's not that big a deal. It's pretty simple. Here we have okay. So if you recall with a while loop, the condition is at the top, and while this condition inside the parentheses, while this condition is true, this thing will execute, and then it comes right back up at the top again and tests the condition again. So there needs to be something inside here that would cause this condition to eventually be false, or you have to have some kind of exit inside the while loop. So anyway, go through this and let's do a challenge here. I think starting with this chapter, I'm going to do the first two challenges, or I'll leave the last challenge activity for you to do. Okay, so this is while loop with a sentinel. What a sentinel is when you're reading in the data, there'll be something in the data that is the signal to stop the loop. That as opposed to being determined, predetermined inside the program, perhaps before the loop started. So let's get this started. The sentinel in this case is going to be, each time you're going to read in a value, and if the value is 0 or less, if it's 0 or less, then this will be false, and it'll quit. And so here's the input data. We've got, it inputs a 2, a 34, a 12, and a 0. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to say what the, okay, so we start out with, we read in the first one. We set minimum value. If we stored an entered value, we set minimum value equal to that one. And then while entered value is greater than 0, we loop. And inside the loop, if we find that the new entered value, which is going to be read in down here, if we find that that is less than what we already have stored as the minimum value, it's less, then it makes that the new minimum value. Okay, and then it stops with when the 0 is read, because if the 0 is read, comes up here. This is false, so it ends up going down here and then printing what the minimum value is. And so what is the minimum value? Well, it looks like it's 2. 2, and then there's no print line, it's just print. So I'm going to put that there and see what I get. Oh, I forgot to put this there first. Well, let's see what it does. Does it give me another chance? I just got to fix it. Oh, it gives me new data. User value, max value. Oh, now we're doing the maximum value, not the minimum value. Max value. If the new number is bigger than max value, then save that as the max value. Make sure I print out max value. I'll just type it in here. Max value, space. And what is the maximum value? Well, it's greater than 0. Do that. It would be 56. Okay, no print line. Well, okay. All right, what's next? We're reading, it's doing final sum, it's current value. If current value is greater than 0, final sum equals final sum plus current value. Read another current value, come back around. Looks like we're summing these up. And first thing we type in is SUM colon space. And then it looks like it's the sum while the current values are greater than 0. So that -5 there should not be included in the sum. So 7 plus 2 is 9. So I'm going to put 9. Well, all right. Let's see. I'm not going to do this last one for you, but let's see what it is. In this one, if the user age is less than 15, I know. If the user age, okay, we read in the user's age, and we loop. We keep on reading in the user's age, and we do it while this is true. And what is this? It's the user age is less than 15, or the user age is greater than 35. So if the user age is 50, if the user age is between 0 and 14, then it's going to do something. It's going to print out very young. Or if the user's age is 36 up to, however old people get, then this will be true, and it's going to print out already adult. And then it's going to read it again. But once it reads something that's not in between here, then it's going to quit. It's going to say perfect fit, and that's done. So when it does 812, it looks like it's less than, so it's going to say very young. When it says 18, that's not very young, and it's not already adult, so it's going to say perfect fit. So anyway, you can figure out what the output is. All right, what's next? Here's a challenge activity. Okay, so I'll do one, and then I'll tell you, we'll talk about the second one. Okay, how's that? Write an expression that continues to bid until the user enters an N. Okay, so okay, keep bidding. All right, so keep bidding starts out as a Y, and I would say that for it to keep bidding has got to continue to be a Y until the user enters an N. Let's do it precisely how they say it, and no matter what the user types in, as long as it's not an N, then we're going to keep on bidding, and bidding is adding 3 to our bid and saying what it is. Okay. All right, so I'm going to say while keep bidding is not equal to N. Then do this. Is this right? My goodness. All right. Let's see what this is, and I can tell you. Oh, Jesus. Get plenty kind of too. Oh, there's 3 here. There's 2 here. All right. Well, let's see what this one is. Given positive integer num insects, write a while loop that prints, then doubles the number of insects each iteration. Print values below 200, follow each number with a space. After the loop, print a new line. All right. doubles each time it doubles. Okay, so so it prints out the 16, and then it doubles it and prints out the 32, and then doubles it, prints out the 64, doubles it, prints out the 128, doubles it, it's 256, that's too high, 256 is done, so we're done. And I'm supposed to put a loop here. While num insects is less than 200, then do this. System out print num insects plus a space, string space. And then read num insects again. No, then just double it. Num insects I think this works. How's that? How's that for fanciness? Num insects equals num insects times num insects. That doubles it, right? No, it doesn't. Plus doubles it. Oh, plus doubles it. And then what do I do at the end? Oh, I got to close the while. And then I got to do system out print line. I think that's all I got to do. Let's see. Well, what do you know? All right. I'll do 1 and you do 2. Use this to read integers that from input until 190 till 999 is read. For each remaining integer, read before 999. If the integer is non-positive, output the integer followed by a new line and add the integer to partial sum. And then I print partial sum. All right, so my code goes here, press start. So first of all, I use this. And I use this to read an integer. I bet that's what data value is. So I'm going to say data value equals this. See, it declared it up here, so I assume that's what it is. Read it in, and partial sum, I guess I should probably initialize partial sum to 0. Partial sum equals 0. And then I should, for each integer before the 999, if the integer is non-positive, output the integer followed by a new line. Okay, so if it's not positive, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where to start the while loop, but I'm gonna do this one. If data value is, and this might end up being a while, not an if. If data value is less than 0, then it's non-positive. Then I want to output the integer followed by a new line. So I got to start a block here. Output the integer, system out print line. Period here, and then put a print line here. And what am I print lining? I'm printing out the data value. Okay. And then add the integer to partial sum. And so then add it to partial sum. Data value. Okay, so that's what it does. Okay, so I need to, I'm gonna make this look a little nicer. You know, really, I need to have a while loop here until I input until it's 9999 is read. So while data value is not equal to 999, while that's the case, then we're going to do this thing here. And then I got to read data value again. Got to read a new one. Paste. And then we can close the while loop. All right, so it prints it out. And then at the end, it adds it up to the partial sum if the data value is less than 0. Otherwise, okay, so I'm going to test it. Can I test? Oh, I can't test it. All right, so let's see if this is right. I guess it is right. Oh, it's not right. All right, I guess 0 is included in this thing. So did I get any points for this, by the way? I didn't get any points. Okay, I guess we got to include 0. And so I think it's got to be like, I guess it's got to be less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to put an equal sign there and then check out. Now I got the points. Very good. 0 worked. 0 does not, because that's not positive, I guess. Now let's just see what the next one is. So this one, read floating point numbers until the floating point number that is read is not in this range. Inclusive. Not in that range. So if it's in that range, inclusive, then we continue to read. And for each one, each number read that is in the given range, output the floating point number followed by is accepted. Then output the floating point number that read that causes the stop is rejected with a new line. Okay. So we're gonna read in a floating point number. I'll start you out here. Inval equals next double. Is that what it is? I can't remember. Java next double. It is double. It's not next float. Okay, so yes, that's a very good guess. Next double. While inval is okay, so we read while it's in that range. And we read it while it's in the range, and once it's outside the range, we quit. So while it's in the range, so inside the range is greater than or equal to minus 45. And inval is capital V is less than or equal to 40.0. Okay, now this is a capital V here. While that's the case, then we print system out print line inval plus space is accepted. Okay, and then we have to read in the next inval. Copy, paste. Okay, then we can close the while, and when we exit, it's going to be because we read in an inval that was not in this range. If it's in this range, it's going to stay in the loop. Once it's outside this range, we're done with the loop, and that would be the inval that caused. And so then we print out the inval that caused it to not be accepted. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it down here, and I'm going to say is rejected. Rejected. Okay. Oh, I wasn't going to do this for you. Anyway, you can check and see if that's correct. What's next? Advanced while loop examples. Okay. Using, good, we got 3 of them here. Using scanner next to read strings from input until rabbits is read. If the string read from input is not equal to rabbits, then output try again. Otherwise, print at last. Okay, so it's reading strings. It's not reading the whole line. It's just next. So first it's going to read the I, then it's going to read the have, then it's going to read the then it's going to read the few, and then it's going to read the rabbits. So when it reads the I, it's going to say try again, have, few, and then rabbits. Oh, nice hint. All right. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to say, let's see, I'm reading in a bunch of stuff. I gotta press start. I'm gonna go scanner. I'm gonna say the name of the variable. It's gonna be input string in str. That's what I'm gonna call it. Input string equals scnr next, and then I'm gonna say while instr equals rabbits. Let's see, I gotta do it this way. Well, first of all, it's gotta be not. Well, let's do it this way. While in string is equal to rabbits, while it's false, then while that's the case, I want to system out print line try again, and then you got to read it again. Okay, and I can close the loop. And if this statement is ever true, that means it's not false. If this statement is true, which means it equals rabbits, then that means this statement is false. So it's not going to do the loop. So we're done with the loop, and we're going to print out oops, I'm going to get rid of this thing. At last. All right. I think this is the answer. Oh, I forgot to declare in string, didn't I? Yep. Never heard of that. Never even heard of it. So I'm going to have to say string in string. Does this work? Boy, that's sure is funny. Cannot find symbol. Well, I can't find this symbol. In most other languages, the compiler would assume from this that you meant to do this earlier. But Java doesn't, and C# doesn't, and there's some languages that don't, and there's a good reason for that, because the programmer has to know what they're doing. All right, so what's this one? Read string integer value pairs from input until stop is read. For each string read, if the following integer read is less than 40, then output low on stock. Otherwise, print out well stocked. All right. So we're going to be reading in. Let's see. I need I need to declare some variables here. I'm gonna have I'm gonna call it I don't know, item. Oh no, I'm gonna go a string item, and then I'm gonna go stock. Oops, int stock. Okay, and then I'm gonna go item equals SCNR dot next. Okay, so that reads the first one. While item equals stop, while item equals stop is false. I can't think backwards like that, so I'm sorry, I gotta do it this way. Is false. Then, while it's false, then I can go ahead and read the integer. Stock equals scanner next int. And then I can say if stock is less than 40, then print system out print ln parentheses the item plus space quote colon low on stock end quote close parentheses, semicolon. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, right here, I'm going to put system out print item. That's just going to print the item out. And then I'm going to say if the stock is less than 40, then print colon on the stock. Okay. Else system out print line colon well stocked. And I don't need this curly, so I don't need the end curly. Let's make this look nicer. This works. That looks okay. Then I got to read in another item again, and it might be stock, but I don't know. I'm going to put that right here, and then I have to close the file. Okay, how's this? Hey, I forgot a semicolon right here. Any other ones? Ooh, 32 already. Okay, great. Got the points. What's next? Real quick. And here you're supposed to first and second integers and input are read into variables previous and current, respectively. Write a loop that iterates until an integer read is less than or equal to the previous integer that's read. Okay, so we're reading in integers, and they have to be in increasing order. And if they're not in increasing order, then it stops, then the loop stops. Write a loop that iterates until an integer read is less than or equal to the previous integer. In each iteration, print, you know, current input is greater than previous input. So it's a strictly increasing sequence. See, so when we're inputting these things, as soon as it comes across this one, which breaks the increasing sequence, see, it outputs this. Okay, write a loop that iterates until an integer read is like, okay, then is less than the previous one. Okay, so right here, we have a previous and a current. And so we can continue while current is greater than previous. So while current is greater than previous, while that's the case, then we can continue merrily on our way, which is this. Oh, which okay. We just copy this and put it here. It's going to look messed up. Okay, so if the current input is greater than the previous input, then it's going to say current input. We already said the previous. Current input is in a strictly increasing sequence. And then it's going to read a new current input. Oh, but we have to, oh, how about, I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to do previous input equals current input. I got to do that somewhere, and I'm going to try doing it here, and that way I can leave this one just exactly like this one. Yeah. Okay, so it's got a current input, and then if current input is greater than that's good. So then it sets this equal to that, prints it out and prints out and gets a new one. And if this is broken, then we want to say, why didn't this thing go over here? If it breaks, then we're ready to print it out. Copy this. Copy and write here. We're going to say current, the current input is what broke the sequence. All right, this is my guess, and I'm not gonna click check. I want you to figure that out. All right, where are we now? We have done all of these, I guess. No, we've done, we've only done section 4.3. Okay, well, it's been 38 minutes doing section 4.3. So I'm going to end this video and start a new one. Thanks for watching.